Hello and welcome back to Gameplay. Technically, I'm your host, and today I'm going to show you how to build a base that should last until day 42. Stay tuned to find out. Now, to be clear, this is not the only video that shows you how to build a base. There are plenty of excellent videos that show you how to do it. This is just my take on how to build a video. Now, before I show you how to build a base before your first blood moon, I'm going to show you what a base looks like prior to a blood moon on day 42. This, I think, will give you the context necessary to show you how and why we build the base that we do. Now, the first thing we want to do is we want to describe the different components of a horde base. So there's two primary components. There is the fighting position, which is this over here, and then there is the staircase. All right, and the reason we build it this way is because zombies in 7 Days to Die are both smart and dumb. They're smart in the sense that they can find the shortest path to you, they can find the weakest spot in your base and try to break through there. They're dumb in the sense that they don't understand context, right? And that's what we're going to exploit. So in this case, what we're exploiting is the fact that they are trying to find the path of least resistance to you, so we give it to them. We build this staircase for them. And so we want to make this staircase as easy to climb up as possible, because if they get stuck on blocks, if there's a traffic jam, that's when they get aggressive. That's when they start attacking blocks, and we don't want that. The other advantage of building a base like this is that you really only have to worry about one point of entry, and that's going to be this here. If you've ever tried to build a base on a POI, you know what it's like when zombies find multiple weak points in your base and try to break through. So in this case, we've just got to focus on fighting from here and repairing these blocks here. Secondly, there's more or less two philosophies on building your base, right? So you either build a horde base that's completely separate from your home base, that's where you keep your forge, your workbench, all of your other stuff, or you build it all together, which is what I do. Now, the reason to not build it all together is, well, right, why risk all of your stuff during a blood moon when you can keep them separate? Now, I've never had to test this, but what I've done, if I need to fall back from my fighting position because it's been breached, what I've done is I've built this bridge to get across, right? And I think later on you can build a drawbridge, but in the meantime, what you can do is you can just build these unupgraded blocks. And if you need to retreat, you just pick them up as you go, close your door, and the zombies can't get to you, at least not up here. You still have the issue that they're going to be trying to dig under the base and trying to get in. My solution for that is to build an escape tunnel. This is a long-term project. It is not yet completed, but the idea is I dig a tunnel deep enough that it leads out into the field over here. As I understand, zombies don't really see hatches, so I climb up over my hatch, get on my bike, and I can escape, right? And so the idea would be is that if I get on my bike, the zombies shouldn't be targeting the base anymore. They should, more or less, enough of them begin following me on my bike. And so long as your settings are left on default, you should be able to outrun the zombies until 4 a.m., at which point the blood moon is over. Now, let's hop into creative mode where I can show you just exactly how to build this base. This base is simple enough that you can build it in 7 days without costing you too much time, too much effort. You'll still have time to do quests, to get the bike, and to do all that good stuff. All right, the first step to building your horde base is pretty simple. You can either build a 5x5 or a 3x3. Now, what I mean by that is just laying out 3x3 blocks or 5x5 blocks, right? And so the 3x3 gives you the option of building a smaller base. The advantage of that is that it'll use fewer resources. It'll take you less time to build it. However, if you're gonna play with friends or if you just want a little bit of extra space, you're gonna wanna build the 5x5. We're gonna focus on building the 5x5. So if you need to craft building blocks, just hit tab and search building blocks on here. If you want to build wood blocks or cobblestone blocks directly, you can search those and build them. And so once you select it, you can, and here, type as many as you want to build. Say you want to build 100, and then you hit craft. They'll get queued up down here and start building. Now, once you've laid your foundation, one of the things you're going to want to make sure that you do is you're going to want to make sure that the outside is upgraded to start at least with wood. And same thing with the interior. This might seem like overkill, but definitely on the first few blood moons, there's a chance that the zombies will be able to break through the first layer and begin crawling onto the inside of your base. And if you're just using this unupgraded block, they're going to tear through it really quickly. So go ahead and make sure that that's upgraded. We're going to do the outside all the way up to cobblestone and then the interior to wood. So should you have sufficient cobblestone, this is what your first layer is going to look like. Additionally, that's what your second layer is going to look like. After that, you can do wood. You want to make sure that the two lowest layers have cobblestone on the outside, because that's what zombies are going to be able to reach. Additionally, you have the option of, instead of building these regular unupgraded blocks, you can build a cobblestone block or wood block directly. The advantage of that is that it saves you time, right? You can place those blocks down and you don't have to upgrade them later. The downside is that if you place a block incorrectly, you've got to destroy the block rather than just picking it up, which can be time consuming. Additionally, you don't get any XP for building a cobblestone or wood block, whereas you do get XP from upgrading a regular block up to wood, and then again, more XP for upgrading it to cobblestone. Now, to simplify our building process, I'm going to put down the cobblestone and wood blocks directly, but feel free to, in fact, I encourage using these blocks because you're going to need the XP at the start. And on top of that, if you misplace a block, it's pretty easy to pick it up. Now let's get started. So there's our second layer. We're going to build our third layer, and you'll notice at this point, we're just using wood. So at the start of the game, you can just use wood here because the zombies are not going to be able to reach it. And wood is enough to just make it durable. You can even use the unupgraded wood if you want. I prefer not to, just to play it safe, but that is certainly an option. And so there we have 3 layers, and then you're just going to add 2 more layers so that it is 5 tall. And so there is our 5-layer tall platform. So keep in mind that you're not going to have some of the advantages that I do, which is having creative mode enabled so I can fly around. However, if you need to reach up higher, one of the things you can do is you can simply hop, drop a block, and raise yourself up this way, and then you can use this to hop on top of here and keep adding layers on top. Now that you have your basic platform down, you're going to want to place a ladder in the back. So I recommend first putting 2 blocks jutting out from it before you place your ladder. So far, we've been using just basic building blocks. However, they can take a number of different shapes. So in this case, we want a ladder shape. So I don't know what the buttons are on console. I'm on PC, but there should be a button, at least on PC, it's you hold down R, that'll bring up this radial menu. You hover over shape and release, and that'll bring up the shape menu. So from here, you want to select the scaffolding ladder from the very first selection up here. So we'll go ahead and select the scaffolding ladder, and then you're going to left click to rotate it in one direction, and you can press R to rotate it back in the other direction. So we want it to attach to our block there, and then we're going to build a ladder. Now you're going to think, oh, I should build the ladder all the way down to the ground. That makes sense. However, zombies can climb this, right? And we want to create a platform from which they only have one access, which is going to be our staircase. So we want to make sure that they can't climb this ladder. How do we do that? We just remove the bottom 2 rungs, right? From there, you're able to jump up here and climb it, but they're not able to do that. Now, you don't have to upgrade the ladder. In some cases, maybe it's a good idea not to, just so that you can pull it up. Really, they're not going to be able to climb this anyway, so I don't see any point in not fully upgrading it. And by fully upgrading it, I mean you just need it to be wood. Now, once that's done, we're going to go ahead and switch back to the regular blocks. Now, one of the things that you can do is right now we have the ladder, the scaffolding ladder selected. You can point at a regular block. You can hold down R. And then if you select the option to copy shape and rotation from the radial menu, it'll switch to that block. So that's a quick way to avoid having to go into the menu. And so now we're going to place our frame here for our fighting position. And so it's as simple as this. This creates the frame. And then you're going to want to create, put down our bars here. That's going to act as our a way of keeping the zombies out, as well as keeping us far enough away that we don't get hit by them. And so what we use to do that is, again, hitting R and going into shapes. We're going to select bars. Again, rotating with left click or R. We place down first these bars, and then these bars. Next, we're going to, again, go into our shapes menu, and then we're going to select the pole option. You want this pole that's showing the pole in the corner there. And now you're going to want to rotate it so that it lies flat on here. When you rotate blocks, sometimes they don't rotate exactly the way you want them to. To get them to rotate the way you want them to, you might have to switch between advanced rotation and simple rotation. Advanced rotation means that they will flip in every direction possible, which can take a while to get through. Simple rotation has a much smaller set of rotations, which is easier to get through, but may not contain the rotation that you want. In some cases, we have to use the advanced rotation. And then you're going to place them. And then you're going to upgrade these. Now, again, you're going to want to upgrade these to cobblestone. You're also going to want to upgrade the frame to cobblestone. Also, one thing that I didn't mention is you can use your stone axe for this. I'm using the nail gun just to simplify things, but the stone axe will do it. It's just going to take a little bit longer to do it. Now, once that's done, you're going to want to select the pole block again, and you're going to want to set another railing over here. And same thing, you're going to want to upgrade it. Once you're done here, you're kind of done with the platform for now, and we're going to move on to the staircase. Now, to begin your staircase, you're going to want to set the first pole down, which is going to be connected to your fighting position. So again, hit R to bring up the shapes menu, and then select the pole that's named pole side centered. It's going to be this one with the pole centered along the one of the edges of the block. And then you're going to rotate it until it's connected to the top as such. And you're going to place 4 of these. And then what you're going to do, just to help guide you, is you're going to again hover over a regular block. You're going to hold R and select copy, shape, and rotation. And then you're just going to place first 4 blocks, then another 4 blocks. So that makes for a total of 8. And then you're going to place a 9th block. And you're going to make this one go up 5 blocks tall. And so as you can see, I can't really reach here. Again, you can build a side position so you can get up to there. Also, taking parkour in the agility tree does help because it lets you take tumbles from high distances, and it also increases your jump range. So I'm going to go ahead and take it now just so that I can show you. You can find it under agility. You need to have agility of at least 5, and then you can take parkour up to stuntman. This increases your jump height, and also you can fall from further on up. So this is really helpful if you're going to be building a lot. Maybe in your party, you're the primary builder. It's good to have for whatever reason, but it is not entirely necessary. Again, you can just build along the side of it, and really you're going to do that anyway. And rather on the side, you're going to have blocks go almost all the way to the top. So you're going to have 4 high, 5 high in the middle, 4 high on the sides, with a row of 3 here. You can now remove your guide blocks. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go in here and you're going to once again select pole side centered. And you're going to rotate until you find the one that connects like that. And you're going to build out 4 from this direction until you hit there. And so that creates an 8 block long pole from your staircase to the fighting position. Now, before we build the rest of our staircase, you're going to want to upgrade the interior kind of as you go. So to build the staircase, it's going to be as simple as this. You're going to once again copy the block. You've got this 5 tall, and you're going to make another column that is 4 tall, then 3 tall, then 2 tall, then 1 tall. And then you're going to want to upgrade these at least up to wood. Now, once again, you're going to build another 4 block tall column, this time on the right. You're going to build another one that's 3 tall, 2 tall, 1 tall, and then same thing on the left over here. Now, before we upgrade any of these blocks, we're going to put stairs on here. So once again, we're going to go into our shapes menu, and we're going to select the stairs filled. We're going to rotate until it lines up correctly. We're going to place the stairs on each one of these rows until we get to the top here. And there we go. And then on here in these gaps that we have, we're going to place a different kind of block. This isn't entirely necessary, but I've always done it this way. So you can either place just a regular block, Or you can go into the shapes menu, select the wedge 60. So once we have the wedge 60 selected, you might have to switch to advanced rotation and rotate through until we get this angle right here. So that's the flat side is going to be on the outside, and then it's going to come to a point on the inside there. And we're going to repeat that on this side, searching for that same angle, which might require us to rotate all the way through all the different rotations until we get the right one there, and we're set. Now, before we continue on with the staircase, there's a few things we want to do to the fighting position now that we can reach out here. So here you can aim at the railing, hold down R, copy shape and rotation, and now you have the pole again. And rotate it until you can paste it on the outside there. And you're going to do the same thing with the bar. Rotate it and place it. So now you have a double layer. And again, you're going to want to upgrade this to cobblestone. And then while we're here, we're also going to place some blocks on the top here. And we're going to use the ramp block. And this is already the way we want it to be facing. So along the entire frame, we're going to place blocks. And once again, we're going to upgrade them to cobblestone. And the reason for these is to keep zombies from being able to jump or climb on top of each other, which would allow them to potentially get over and on top of your base and hop down behind or inside. And while we're on the pole, we're also going to upgrade this to stone. And then we're also going to upgrade at least the center path to stone. The reason we want the center path, and it really can be any of them, we're just picking the center path, is that we want one of the paths to remain as durable as possible. Because if this staircase were to fail, the zombies no longer have a path to you. And if they don't have a path to you, they're going to start attacking the base of your fighting position. And you don't want that. Eventually, they're going to break through. You're not able to hit them from your position. That requires you either hop down and try to fight them on foot, or you have to abandon the base. Neither of those are good propositions. And so the rest of this staircase can just be upgraded to wood. This is just the start. You can upgrade this later to a more durable material like cobblestone. And that is everything except for the bottom blocks. So you'll want to do these staircases, these bottom two, as stone as well. And you're going to want to do this all the way around the staircase. And at this point, our staircase is just about complete. However, there is one more or two more pieces you can add to make this more effective. And that is you're going to add some staircases on the outside. And the ones that you're going to add are the staircases filled corner. You're going to select that. And you see here, this is set to advanced rotation, which isn't necessarily what we want. You'll find the right rotation doing that, but you can select simple. This will make it so that it's easier to find the rotation that you want. So we're going to place them on both sides just like this. And this just means that zombies won't get stuck trying to climb from the edge. When they do that, they'll instead climb up a little bit and manage to get on the staircase for the most part. They'll occasionally get caught on the corner here. But again, if you just hit them with an arrow or a firearm, it'll reset their behavior and they'll kind of figure it out and start padding again. And so once again, you definitely want to upgrade these to stone. And our staircase is done. This is more or less the minimum viable product for the staircase. Now we want to finish the rest of our platform. And so our platform is going to need walls and a ceiling. So at least for the first Blood Moon, you're unlikely to run into any zombies that can jump up here. You're unlikely to run into any cops who can spit at you or any vultures. However, it's still a good idea to fill it in right away. This can be left again at just wood. So we'll go ahead and begin filling that in. You're going to use just a regular block. So we'll go ahead and copy the shape here. And we're going to start by just filling in or creating a base on the outside here. And we're doing it this way because this will allow you to create a wall that doesn't take up space on the interior. Now from here, we're going to fill in the corners here. And we're going to create a frame on the back. And this frame is going to be completely blocked except for a door which will be placed here. Now on the outside here, you might be tempted to build a wall. It's certainly an option, but there is something you can do to help you fight these zombies. This is a little more optional. I like to do this because it gives me a side angle on the zombies, especially when they fall down over here. And I'm going to show you what we do. So first of all, we're going to place another set of blocks right here. We're going to start on the edge here. And we're going to do that. Similarly, we'll go onto this side. And we're going to place another layer of blocks. And in fact, what we can do is we can actually remove this one here. And this one here on this side. So just to clarify, you're going to have a 5 long wall here with a doorway in the middle. Once that's done, you're going to place a frame here and a frame here. And then over here, you're going to switch to the bars block. And you're going to rotate until it switches to this. So it's basically you're lining up against the block under the floor or along the floor. Because what you want to do is you want to place a bar block as a floor. You can walk on this, but the advantage of this is that you can look through it and shoot through it. And you're going to do the same thing, but you're going to extend it out a little bit further. And so you're going to have to carefully line up. So the trick you can do is try to get up to the edge and then turn to rotate your character a little bit. If you don't quite make it, go a little further. And eventually you should be able to line it up there and there. And so again, this is why it might be a good idea to take parkour, or at least 1 point so that you can take a bit of a fall. I don't know if a 5 block fall is enough to injure you, but possibly. So just keep that in mind. And then the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go back into shapes and you're going to select the bars corner shape. And we're going to switch to simple. And then we're going to place corners there, corner there, and then a corner in the back over here. We're going to once again switch back to the regular bar. And we're going to finish off the railing all the way to the end over here. And we're going to repeat the process on this side. Once you're done, you should have 2 wings that look sort of like this, and you'll see that you're able to walk all the way out here, and you're able to look along the side here. And that's kind of the point, is that you want to be able to look kind of parallel to the front of your base, because from over here, you're not going to be able to see that. And I'll explain to you why that's important a little bit later. But first, we're going to finish off the ceiling here. And the ceiling, you're going to use just, again, a regular block. And you're going to cover all the way to the end of the railing, including on this side where you're going to build all the way to the end so that it looks like this. And the reason you want it to cover you like this is just to protect you from vultures. You're going to do the same thing on the other side. And then finally, you're going to take care of the center ceiling. Here, you're going to again switch back to bars. You're going to rotate them until they face up. And you're going to fill in the entirety of the ceiling except for one spot where you want to place a ladder. Now we're going to try placing it in the center, more or less right here. Again, it doesn't have to go all the way down, so that'll save space. We're going to select the scaffolding ladder. We're going to switch to simple. We're going to rotate it. So this way it doesn't get in the way. You can walk through, you can move here. If you're fighting, you're not going to bump into it. But if you need to get up onto it, you can just jump and climb up onto it. And that'll get you up onto the roof. Additionally, you can add a hatch. It's not entirely necessary. I've never seen a vulture fly in through a hole on the roof. But if it makes you feel safer, go ahead and place a hatch. And then same thing, we're going to upgrade all of this to at least the wood block. You don't have to do these back walls. I recommend doing all of it, especially if you're playing with a party, because your game stage is going to be higher if you're playing with a party. And your game stage is essentially how difficult the game is going to be. So your game stage is your level plus how many days you've been alive. And when you're playing with a party, it sums it all together. And that means that you're going to have a much higher game state. So it's possible that you're going to get spitters and things like that. And so in that case, you're going to want to make sure that this is at least wood so that it can survive a few hits from the spitter. And same thing with these walls here. You can just go ahead and upgrade them. And same thing with the ceiling. Now at this point, your fighting position is complete. This is done. So this takes a pretty decent amount of resources. However, I'm able to do it before the end of day 7, and I'm able to do it while doing 1 to 2 missions from Trader Rect every day. So that means that you should still be able to get the bike before you get to a blood moon. The things that do help, however, are getting your stone axe upgraded if possible. So get the harvesting tools magazines and consume those as you get them, so you can get a better axe. Additionally, any mods that you get for the axe, if you apply them, the axe will do more block damage regardless of what type of mod it is, so that'll help you do a little more damage. And so the reason you want to upgrade your stone axe is because that's how you're going to be harvesting wood and stone. But the biggest difference that you can make to your ability to harvest is by taking some perks in the strength tree. So it looks like we already took some of those. In fact, we took all of them. So that's interesting. So the 2 that you're going to want to focus on is Miner 69er and Mother Load. So if you're not going to take any strength attributes, at least put 1 point in Miner 69er and 1 point in Mother Load. However, if you are focused on strength because you're going to go with clubs or something like that, then go ahead and do something like 3 points in Miner 69er, 2 points in Mother Load. Now, if we look at the effect that these have, so what Miner 69er does is it increases the amount of damage that you do with your axe. This also applies to your pick and your shovel, as well as some additional tools, but we're going to stick just to the stone axe because that's and the shovel, because that's what you're going to have at the start of the game. So this is primarily going to help you chew through trees much faster. And the reason you want to take Miner 69er first is because when you're chopping through a tree, you get a bonus for completing the entire tree. Same thing with completing an entire rock node. The faster that you are able to complete a node, the more resources you're going to be able to get. So that's why you want to get 1, 2, or even 3 in this one to start off with. And then you're going to want to put 1 or 2 points into Mother Load just because this increases the total amount that you receive. So in the case of going up to main vein, you're going to harvest 40% more from stone and trees. Now, some additional stuff you can do, especially if you have extra time, is you can go ahead and take your shovel. I'm going to use this developer tool for digging, but you can do this with a shovel. This is going to be very time consuming. However, you're going to need clay for cobblestone anyway. So you can, if you're going to dig anywhere for clay, dig a moat in front of your base. Start off with something like that. You'll see that there's kind of a gap there. Don't worry about that. And try to make this as wide as possible. I recommend going 4 wide from where your base is, and I'll explain what I mean by that. So by 4 wide, I mean that you're able to place 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks all the way to the end. And once you've got it that deep, or rather that wide, you can go deeper now. So we're going to go ahead and go at least 2 deep because we want to keep this something that's doable for you before the first blood moon. So we're going to go ahead and make this 4 wide and 2 deep. And there you go. So you'll have a pit that is 5 blocks in length, 4 blocks in width, and 2 blocks in depth. That should be enough to get you started. However, there's one more thing you have to do, and that is you have to build a ramp so that the zombies can get out. So what we're going to do is from here, we're going to extend this a little bit further. This can be just 2 wide to start with. So we're going to go ahead and do this. And so this should create a ramp for them to come out of and head this way. Now, there is still a risk that they might try to hop over this. They might be able to do that. If that is potentially a risk, then what we can do is we can widen this out a bit. This is, again, if you have time. You can do this, and then what you can do is go a little further over here, and then make this 3 blocks deep. Now, again, this is a very time-consuming portion of it, so you don't have to go this far. You just may not have enough time to go this deep on the first go, right? I'm able to go through it really quickly, but for example, you're probably going to have a shovel. So this is a level 5 stone shovel. This is probably something that you would have heading into the first blood moon. Let's see how long it takes to dig through. it takes 3 swings to dig through. So as you can see, that's, if you consider that you have to do this for every block in here, that can be very time consuming. So again, don't prioritize this. This is the last thing you're going to do. Now, as you proceed through blood moons, you're going to want to make this deeper and deeper, because what you want is ideally is you're going to want this to be, so we know that our platform is 5 high. So this is 5 blocks right here. And then you have another 1, 2, 3 blocks right here. So right now this is a drop of 8 blocks. You want this to be a drop of 13 blocks. So that means that you've got to dig another 5 blocks deeper, right? And the reason you want to do that is, again, so that you avoid them getting enraged. Because say, for example, they land here, there's a chance they'll get enraged and they might start digging under here, right? So when they do that, you can go ahead and shoot them from your bow from one of the wings, either with your bow or a firearm, and that'll reset them. And they will begin walking back up this path and up towards the staircase. And so this is also a good place for you to put spike traps, right? So you can put spike traps down here. You can even put spike traps up along the ramp or barbed wire, making it easier for you to hit them from one of your wings as they're trying to walk up. Keep in mind, though, that zombies killed by spikes do not give you XP. So finally, if you also want to attach your home base, that is your base with your forge, your cement mixer, your campfire, all that stuff. If you want to attach it to the Horde base, what you can do is you can switch back to a regular block here. You can build out this way, such that you have kind of a this encircling your ladder. This can sometimes make it a little difficult to get onto the ladder. So what I like to do is I like to put a ramp here. Not that ramp. You want to use this ramp, rotate it until it looks like that, and sometimes that helps you get onto the ladder a little bit easier. So once you've upgraded these blocks to wood, I recommend that you do so. The main reason is because if you accidentally press E on them, you're going to pick up the block and you're going to put a hole in your floor. So you don't want to do that. However, this next portion, you're going to want to leave these blocks not upgraded. You're going to want to leave these the way they are. So we're going to go ahead and go into shapes again. We're going to select the catwalk, and we're going to place it exactly like this. And you're going to do at least 3 of them, maybe even 4. And then what you're going to do is you're going to switch back to the regular block, and you're going to build a guide block. And this is just to help you gauge exactly where you're at. So right here, this is where we meet up with that bridge. And we're going to build blocks underneath us to get onto the bridge here. And then we can remove the guide blocks. Make sure you do, because this will allow a zombie to jump up here and then climb up the ladder. And then from here, you can start building another 5x5 platform. So this is definitely something that you're not going to be able to do in the first 7 days, because it takes a lot of resources to build a second platform. So I don't recommend that you try that. But this is kind of gives you an idea of what to do after the first blood moon. Is you can then build a platform here. And you're going to follow the same steps of doing cobblestone on the first 2 layers, and then wood all the way up, and that'll give you another platform. And again, like I said, in a situation where your fighting position gets breached, you can retreat across this bridge and pull up the blocks as you go. I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate it real quick. So as you're backing away, you just pick up the blocks, and now you're separated from the rest of your base. The zombies no longer have a path. This is a far enough distance that they can't jump across. Perhaps a spider zombie could jump across, but that's why you're going to put a door on this block. And just to clarify, from here, you can swing and hit a zombie for the most part. Some of them have weird hitboxes, but by and large, you're going to be able to hit them with a melee weapon, right? And you can keep fighting from here. It's very unlikely that they'll be able to hit you. So this railing is kind of keeping you from getting too close, but you'll be able to hit them because you've got longer range with pretty much any of your weapons. I do recommend a club, especially if you're a strength build, because a club can knock them down, cause them to fall off. And then additionally, from this wing, as they damage kind of some of these outside blocks, you can come along this wing and you can repair them. So let's say they were to take damage. So there, these blocks have taken damage from over here. You can repair them. Just make sure you have cobblestone in your inventory so that you can repair them. You can also repair the poles from over here. And you want to make sure the pole stays repaired. It typically doesn't get damaged, but do make sure you check it, because if this pole collapses, the zombies no longer have a path, and that's again when they start trying to dig under the base. And then finally, if you get vultures, you can just go ahead and shoot them through these bars here as they approach. And that's pretty much how you build this base. You should be able to build this more or less before the 7th day. The first blood moon should be extremely doable with this base on any difficulty setting, so long as block damage remains the same. And then you can continually upgrade and scale up this base to make it more resistant, is at least up until the 42nd day, potentially. So I'm going to release another video where I test it out on the 42nd day and I see what happens, see if it still holds up. But like I said, that'll be a separate video. If this video was helpful to you, consider liking, subscribing, hitting the bell, all that good stuff. Leave me a comment if you have any extra advice, any questions, anything like that, and I'll do my best to respond. And with that, I'll see you guys on the next one.